Talking Shirts is presented in partnership with White Oak Cottage. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to episode 89 of Talking Shirts. I'm Mike from Hull KR Shirts, and today we're going to take a look at this 2006 shirt worn in the Northern Rail Cup final by Iain Morrison. Now, we've covered the 2006 home shirt before. That was actually one that was worn by Leroy Rivette in the grand final during 2006. So it's nice to be able to add two shirts that was worn in the two finals that we played during the 2006 season into the collection. Now, this might sound like a really strange comment because this is obviously coming from somebody who wasn't supporting the club back then. But having looked at some literature, I read the Back from Oblivion book, and I've kind of done various amounts of research across the club as a whole. And I just wonder if this game was the catalyst that it took for the Robins to seek promotion to the Super League. Now, the club went into this game quite heavy favourites. They did actually lose 22 points to 18. And I'm just wondering if that game provided the reset for Justin Morgan and the playing group that they needed to actually kind of see that job through. Now, it's all relative, it's all just theory, it might just be absolute nonsense, but it was just something that I was thinking about. You know, if we'd have won this game and we'd have won this cup final for back-to-back years in 05 and 06, would we have actually had the focus to go on, or would just a little bit of just complacency kicked in? Maybe this was the reset that the club needed to go on and seek promotion. Promotion was far more important than winning this game. So as we look back on history, it worked out really well in terms of the Robins for us supporters. Now, as we take a look at the shirt, you can see that this one was used for that Northern Rail Cup final. It's got the game detail embroidered above the crest, and then also we've got the date as well, which has been embroidered below the crest. So that's a really, really nice touch. The shirt itself, all white design, really big, thick, broad red band going through the middle with a little bit of blue piping top and bottom. I've spoken about this blue piping before across various shirts. It's something that I'm a really big fan of. I think it's a really good addition to the shirts. You can also see where it forms up here as part of the raglan sleeve style as well. We have got a turnover collar that has been stitched down. We have got scarness, which has been embroidered into there in terms of branding. The stitching goes all the way around, and then it meets at the front where we've got the reinforced stitching in the neck there to prevent the shirt from ripping or pulling. We've got SOS Office Supplies, Carlotti and Hull Kingston Rovers club crest. All of this has been embroidered, as has the game detail, which I have already mentioned. And then we've got the Platform 1 sponsor, and that has been heat applied to the front there. So it's quite possible that the agreement with Platform 1 was signed quite late on in terms of the design and the manufacturing period of the shirt. We've got loads of different sort of styles of piping going on here. Obviously, I've mentioned the bits that separate the raglan sleeves from the body. We've also got the top and the bottom of the bands. And then we've also got the two stripe, which goes down the side as well. So I'll spin that around for you there. The design elements to this are also continued around the sleeve. So that goes all the way around, start to finish. And then just above that, we have got the Lloyd's TSB branding, which has been heat applied onto the sleeve there. Their branding also features on the back of the shirt. And we would also know that this would then become our front of shirt sponsor for 2007 and 2008. So before we have a little bit of a look around the back of the shirt, here is a quick word from our sponsor.
White Oak Cottage is a 2-bedroom luxury holiday cottage set in the stunning Lincolnshire Wolds. It has 2 ensuite bedrooms, a hot tub, wood burner, Wi-Fi, electric vehicle charger, and is pet friendly. It is ideally situated in the Wolds, yet only 15 miles from the coast and 25 miles from the historic city of Lincoln. For more information, visit whiteoakcottage.co.uk.
Welcome back to episode 89 of Talking Shirts. Before the break, we was talking a little bit about this 2006 home shirt, which was won during that Northern Rail Cup final defeat to the Leigh Centurions. And we're now around to the back of the shirt. As you can see here, it's a very, very plain back. We have got Lloyd's TSB, which has been heat applied to the back of the shirt. We've also got their logo in its natural colourway, and then the Lloyd's TSB featuring in a blue font. We have then got the number 11, which has been heat applied, and we have got Pride of East Hull, which featured quite prominently across quite a few shirts during this 05-06 era. The squad numbers, as I've said there, they've been heat applied. This one probably just needs to be a little bit more sort of central. It's kind of a little bit sort of runaway-y. This seems to be quite frequent across a lot of clubs. I don't know if it's just because there's that many shirts to do. It's maybe kind of a bit of a tedious task where there isn't that level of sort of care, shall we say, taken in terms of the application on the numbers when there is so many to do. But when you're looking at just one like we are today, it does obviously stand out to the fact that it isn't actually central. But this one was just used in a one-off game. It was only used once. But it is quite a quirk feature, which will obviously at some point when I manage to find some photography from this game, I might be able to identify a picture of Iain Morrison wearing this shirt, obviously with the number 11 on the back. Iain Morrison, he went on to make 39 appearances for the club in the 2 seasons that he was with us during 2006 and in 2007. And during that time, he did score 5 tries. He's somebody who I'm not hugely familiar with. Obviously, I've heard the name and I've done a little bit of research into Iain and his career. He joined quite a host of different clubs after leaving the Robins. So he sounds like he was a little bit of a sort of a journeyman player who didn't really settle at one club for a prolonged period of time. But obviously, he played quite an important part of the club's history, gaining promotion to the Super League, but not only doing that, retaining it during that 2007 season as well. Obviously, as we talk a little bit about the cup final and the club as a whole, this Northern Rail Cup final, which is kind of your secondary cup competition for those clubs that are playing in the second and third tier of rugby league in England. The club actually featured in 4 finals across 5 years. 2002 through to 2006. It was just that 2003 season where they didn't make the final. Obviously, they won the competition in 2005, but they came out on the losing side in 2002, 2004, and 2006. So that's everything for episode 89 of Talking Shirts. Hope you've enjoyed looking at a shirt that was worn by a Hull KR player in a cup final. That for me is something which is kind of like the epitome of shirt collecting, really. Anything that was used or worn or even issued to a player for a cup final is obviously pretty special when it comes to shirt collecting. I'll be back in another couple of weeks with episode 90, and yes, it's going to be another shirt that was worn by a player during a cup final. Not any cup final, not that cup final, but the 1997 Challenge Cup plate final that was played at Wembley Stadium, where the Robins beat Hunslet 60 points to 14. I've managed to pick up a shirt that was match worn in that game. Who could it be? Check back in another couple of weeks to find out. Bye for now.